everyone, my name is Jenna, but you guys can call me Jen. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Hi, hello, welcome on in. Welcome to a little writing update. It is high time we talk about what I've been working on, what's coming out, and just all the things I've mentioned in different vlogs. Bring it all together in amalgamation in one video, because there's been a lot. There has really been a lot. So I'm gonna try to keep this as organized as possible, but your girl's brain likes to do lots of different things. She's a little scattered, she's a little rambly, and she likes yapping. So join me, get a drink, we're gonna yap, and we're gonna talk about everything that I'm working on, everything that's coming out, and we're gonna do some official announcements and stuff. So let's get into this. The last time I did a writing update, it looks like was back in February. So back in February, I did not know what was gonna happen over the summer. I did not know. So my video for my series planning with Sage's story went up in May. So even back in February, I had no idea what I was gonna do this year. I had goals, I had plans, all that good stuff, but so much has happened. So recently, in a vlog and also in an editing vlog that I'm currently working on for RAMBLY Book 3, I have mentioned my creativity seasons and all that kind of stuff, because we are currently looking at the last quarter of the year and fall, winter times, which are my worst months for creativity and productivity wise, just because seasonal depression kicks in. I feel usually the most burnt out in these last few months. They're not the best times to be creative for me, but I digress. That does not mean that I full stop just stop being productive. I mean, I have in the past, but this year I am trying to be more mindful and careful with myself while also still remaining productive and staying on track with things. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Oh my God, because I'm very much not on track with this project that I'm working on. I kept setting deadlines for RAMBLY Book 3 throughout the year, wanting to have things done by the end of July and then the end of August and then the end of September. And now we're halfway through, more than halfway through September, and I know that it's just not going to feasibly happen by the end of September. So it's probably going to be in October, but I'm not setting another deadline for that one. I'm just going to consistently try and get it done, and it'll get done when it gets done, you know? Anyways, so I've been talking about my seasons of creativity and the fact that we're coming up on these months that I'm usually not very creative in. So I'm trying to be mindful with myself and careful and good to myself and doing cozy things that help me recharge. I've picked up coloring, if you guys have seen my vlogs, and I've also picked back up some cozy gaming. I've also been doing some cozy streams on my YouTube channel, which has been so fun. I've been streaming through Twitch, but posting to my YouTube channel. I've been playing some Stardew, if you're at all curious about that. It's been so fun. So I've been doing little things like that just to keep myself grounded and sane, because I know myself. And if I push myself too hard and try do too many things all at once, I will be so burnt out and so done, and it'll just derail all the plans. So we're being gentle. We're being gentle. That is the word for the rest of the year. Gentle with myself. So this year, since February, so much has happened, as I said. Not only have I plotted out the entirety of the Horizons Trilogy, which is Sage's trilogy, I have also randomly done a novella, a holiday novella that's coming out in November. And I've also continuously kept working on RAMBLY Book 3, which the title reveal is happening this Sunday. So, and there's currently a game happening on my Instagram and my TikTok. It's probably better to do through Instagram, because I've loaded this game into a template on an Instagram story that you can go and just add yours to and try it through that. It's basically a word search where you can try and find all the words, and then there's some missing words at the bottom that you gotta kind of figure out as you find them. And then using those words in the word search, you can try and figure out what the title is of book 3. I'm really happy with it, and I've been having a lot of fun seeing everyone try it and with their guesses and everything. And people have been like very close with their guesses until I start like giving them little nudges, but it's been so fun. You guys are the best. But yeah, so that's kind of like a big overview of what's happening. So first, let's talk about the one thing that's coming out the quickest, which is Merry and Bright. So if you are new here and you don't know my journey with Merry and Bright, this was a complete surprise this summer. In June, I was scrolling through Instagram and I ended up coming across a post from Kobo, which is like the American Kindle, essentially. And I saw that they were hosting a contemporary romance novella contest to be their next Kobo Originals publication this holiday season. And I was like, oh what if? So what if? Originally, I was going to do a fantasy one. I was going to do an Ari and Finn novella, which is my first cozy story. A second story, I have also news about this specific copy that I will talk about in a second, and also this one, potentially. But there's so many things. I went to my friends and I showed them the contest and I was like, should I try? Because it opened in June and closed in August. So I saw when it opened, I was like, oh God, I have like 2 months to get this ready and together. So I have to write it really fast, edit it really fast and really well, and get it ready and submitted. I just started brainstorming with my friends, and I also realized that when going back into the comments that Kobo was requiring specifically a contemporary romance. So no fantasy allowed, no magic allowed. And I was like, my comfort zone, it's gone. Because you guys know, fantasy is everything to me, and everything I write needs to have a little bit of magic in it because it just feels right, you know? So I decided to go into this as a test, a challenge for one, writing my very first novella, as someone who writes novels and usually overwrites everything, and also as someone who does not really write contemporary stuff. I have in the past. As a young child, I didn't believe I could write fantasy, and here I am on the other side of that, being a fantasy author. And I also never believed that I could really write anything short because my stories just seem to explode out, or they used to. They seem to just explode into big, beefy, 100,000 word stories, right? But recently, because of a second story and a little luck, being shorter, being more concise, and also doing them in quite a quick turnaround, I have realized that I am more capable at doing specific challenges and things with my stories than I really thought I was. And I'm becoming such a better author as I go through, not just in the actual writing of things, but in the craft of it, in the construction of stories and the structuring of things, all that good stuff. So I tried and I wrote an entire novella in a couple weeks, but granted, it is a really short novella because Kobo had a 15,000 to 20,000 word cap for this novella specifically. So they were very short novellas. It was very easy. Mine ended up being about 17,000 words, so landing right perfectly in the middle. And so I got my friend Yeleni to edit it for me. I had Allie read it before then as like a quick beta reader. She read it in a day and came back to me with comments, which is just incredible. And then Yeleni ended up editing it for me at the end of July. So she was absolutely incredible. The editing that she did was perfect. And I'm so glad because she took the story and elevated my language and my sentences and all that good stuff, and helped me see things that I didn't see. It was just the best editing experience I've ever had, and I'm never gonna let her go. As an editor, if she is available to edit any of my work, she will be my editor from here on out. That is how I am with it. She's just the best. So I did that, and then I submitted it to Kobo on August 15th. And then I heard back right away not right away, in a couple weeks, that I was part of the shortlist. I had been shortlisted. And also that there had been an enormous amount of submissions from across Canada, because it was a Canada-wide situation. There were 145 submissions. And out of 145, I was in the top 11, which I was so happy with. And I gotta be honest with you guys, I was waffling the whole time about submitting this to the contest, and I'm like, what if I win? Because then I won't be able to do paperback versions, I won't be able to publish it everywhere, some people might not have access to Kobo. Like, if I win, it'll be so super cool because then I get to go through the publishing process with Kobo and all this kind of stuff. But if I win, I also won't be able to do all this stuff that I kind of want to do with this novella. So it was the best of both worlds because I did not win the Kobo contest, but I got into the shortlist, which is such an honor. So I'm so happy with that. It was the perfect outcome in my opinion, because now I have a ready to go novella that is going to be published on November 7th. Put it in your calendars. It is up for pre-order now, ebook, everywhere. In my description, there is a link to my Linktree. Go into that, go to the 5th one down. It should say order my books. It's gonna take you to a page that has all the links, whether you are in the US, in Canada, or an international, specifically the UK, reader, and from any of those landing pages you can find your country if you are in a different country that like Amazon UK doesn't cater to or whatever. It's on your Amazon, I promise you. Amazon is just a little picky with my last name, and because Marian Bright is not a unique title in any way, shape, or form, you kind of have to type in Merry and Bright and my full name, so JENNCOLLIGNON, and it's going to want to correct you on my last name and change it to Collignon, which is not it. It's Collignon with a G before the N. It's a little bit of a deal, but that is why I did this like landing page on my website. I redid it all so that you can go find it as an ebook to pre-order, and the paperback pre-orders are coming. I've had some fun, interesting times with the spine and KDP, so I've had to redo the cover a couple times with the specific spine text. Fingers crossed they approve it this time, and once they do, I can put everything through Ingram and that, and then the paperback pre-orders will hopefully be live within a couple days, weeks after that, all the good stuff. But ebook pre-orders are live, and I would really love if you would go pre-order it because it's only a couple dollars. I would be so happy if you did. So this sapphic novella happened and occurred to me in the middle of this year, completely derailing my plans with Aramount Book 3 and my productivity with Aramount Book 3 because I was just sucked into this. A lot of my summer was originally in my brain planned out to be for Aramount Book 3 because last year in 2023, I had a little luck as my biggest situation in the middle of the year. My summer was a little luck heavy. It was my editing, it was everything. Like that is what I did because it was ready to go in October and published in October. So I figured this year I could do a very similar thing and use my summer for the most productivity that I needed because I just have more time in the summer because I work 2 jobs during the school year, which is September to June here in Canada. And we're done really early June and then we start again in September. So I have like June, July, and August to work on a lot of creative stuff because then I only have my one job that I'm focusing on, which is my full-time job. Otherwise, I have teaching. I teach piano, which takes up a lot of my evenings and just takes up a lot of my energy and mental space. So that was my plan. Summer is usually when my creativity is also the highest because it's summer, it's brighter out, all that good stuff. That was my original plan, was to carve up my summer for Aramount Book 3. And that did not really happen because I kept getting derailed. This is the year of being derailed. Being derailed, of dabbling, all that kind of stuff, because in 2023 I was very strict, very structured with what I was doing and what I was working on, and I was working on only one thing at a time. So I had a second story go up at the beginning of the year in May, and then I had A Little Luck go up in October. And between those 2 times, I was only working on A Little Luck. I wasn't thinking about anything else. I did have ideas, like I had my inspiration for book 3, and then I like spent a day just brainstorming the basic vibes of the book, but I did not focus on anything else. This year, even though I really want to be focusing on like one specific project or anything like that, or I dedicate like a month to just working on one project, doing that like month to month type dabbling in different projects is making me feel like I'm doing less, even though I'm still doing a lot. And it's also, I'm not done a lot of things and I haven't really accomplished as much as I wanted to this year with Aramount Book 3 specifically. But that's okay because I have been dabbling. I have been probably the most creative I've been this year in a long time. And that makes me happy. It does. Being creative and dabbling and just letting myself kind of do what my brain wants to do has been very fun and very fulfilling. And it's a really good little learning curve that I've been doing this year. I've kind of unlocked how to make myself more productive in shorter amounts of time during like a writing session, putting on headphones and completely fully headphones and like completely erasing all other distractions and just locking myself in with a specific song or a playlist or a vibe. And doing it for a short amount of time, not letting myself write for like 6, 7, 8 hours long, just doing it for a couple hours max so that I can get as much as I can out of my productivity in like spurts of time, which has been such a great thing to learn about myself and to continuously do as I like fall into my writing spaces. Doing that dabbling and all that kind of stuff has also opened up more opportunities for more ideas to come in. I have so many ideas for the world of Ravar and the books that I'm coming out with for sure, and then the possibilities going forward. So you guys know, if you've been on my channel for a while, of course you're getting Aramount Book 3. Book 1 and 2 are A Second Story and A Little Luck. They are companion cozy fantasy books. They are part of the same world, same timeline, but follow different people. And so each of them are their own standalone stories. You can read them out of order if you want, doesn't matter. The third one is going to be coming out next year. I am crossing all my fingers that it is May next year, May 2025. I am trying my darndest to make that happen. If anything happens and I have to postpone it a little bit, I don't mind. It's gonna bother me a little bit, but It's going to be in the first half of 2025 no matter what, so stay tuned for that. Outside of that one, I also mentioned the Horizons Trilogy, which is Sage's trilogy, which I have the entire first book outlined, which happened because I became completely obsessed with Empire of Exiles by Erin M. Evans, which is my favorite book of the year, one of my favorite books of all time. I've reread it twice and I'm going to reread it again this month. It's happening. It unlocked something in me for the Horizons Trilogy specifically and helped me create just such an intricately well done, well thought out plot outline for book one in Sage's story. And I never really thought I was going to do that. I did want to, it was part of my goals this year to outline Sage's trilogy. So I did do that. And it is outlined. I don't have book three like outlined as carefully, and book two does not have an outline, but it has like a synopsis kind of a thing. But I now know the trajectory of the story. I know what I want to do with each book, sort of. So I have that done, and I'm so excited to get back to this and really start working on this. But I am not going to let myself do that until Airmail book three is done. Because I know myself now, as I've said in this video, I can't let myself work on multiple things at once because I just get so distracted. I don't focus on one thing properly. Things are everywhere. It takes me longer to get through things. I know how my brain works. I have tried to work on like 2 projects at once before. It does not work. No matter how many times I try it, it just really doesn't. So I need to focus on one thing, get it done, and then do another thing, get it done, etc., etc. going forward. So we're doing Airmail book 3 first, and then you guys are gonna get this after that. But there's been a little bit of a change of plans with this one specifically because wacky idea came into my brain and I haven't been able to let it go. And then Allie also mentioned it, and I'm dreaming real hard with this trilogy, even though I haven't even written the freaking books. I really want to try query this trilogy, specifically book 1. I think I'm going to do that. Even though I planned this as a self-published trilogy and I was going to have it where I wrote and worked on all 3 of the books and got them each like really ready for publication and then released them in succession, like quick succession, within a couple months of each other, you know, so that people would get the books quicker than waiting like a year or 2 between every sequel, right? I wanted to be able to release this trilogy in tight succession. As a self-published author, I already have the covers in my head. Like, I know that I can easily self-publish this, but I also want to kind of try query this to get an agent to see if I can traditionally publish this, because I think it would be easily marketable to the wide masses. I have hopes for this story. I really high hopes. It would be such a cool little dream to get this traditionally published. I'm gonna say it here because we're gonna manifest it. The best case scenario with this one would be to query book 1 and keep working on book 2 and 3, get them ready as I can. Within 6 months, I think I'm gonna give myself a 6 to 8 month cap on the query vibes. If nothing is happening in those 6 to 8 months, I will just publish it myself because I don't want to wait forever and ever and ever on the query trenches, and the query trenches are a lot, very draining on mental health, all that kind of stuff. I'm going to give myself the 6 to 8 months vibe to see if anything moves, anything happens with these books. Best case scenario, gets picked up, I get a full request from an agent wants to represent me, and then it gets picked up by Tor or Orbit or Titan. Those are my dream. Any one of those, because Tor and Orbit are some of my favorite publishers. They are like my top 2 publishers ever. Titan is also, I would love to be part of the Titan team because Titan is coming out with such incredible books. And I know like Hannah Long is part of the Titan team, and Hannah Long is one of my favorite authors ever. So that is the dream, that we're manifesting that one day. No matter what, you guys are going to be getting this book either from me or from a traditional publishing house. We'll see how that works out. But this is a very piratey, I don't even think I told you what guys what it was. This is a very piratey centered mystery type of D&D campaign, group of found family people going on adventures to try save the world type of book. You've met Sage, my main character, which is why I keep calling it Sage's story. You've met her and her adventuring party in a second story, my very first book. She was the little bookstore fiendling. She's the little happy-go-lucky. She just wants to go on an adventure. This is her story. This is her adventure. This is not going to be cozy. This is going to be actually quite dark, and I'm so excited to dabble with that because this is where my fantasy heart lives forever. This is the kind of books that I want to do. The first one is heavily inspired by Empire of Exiles. It's gonna be a fantasy mystery, the first one at least, and then the second 2 are gonna be more of like quest and then like a little horror-y and that kind of stuff. So I'm so excited to get into that. Epic fantasy, quest vibes, all that good stuff. I'm so excited. It's also going to be multi-POV. It's not just going to be Sage as the POV. That we're going to also have Drift and Lyra as POVs in here as well. And also potentially the antagonist we're gonna see, but I'm so excited to get into this, y'all, when Aramount Book 3 is done. But yes, that is the updated plan with the Far Horizons trilogy. I still want to actively work on the whole trilogy kind of as a one fell swoop, like work on book 1 until I have it pretty much like draft 1, draft 2, kind of with that, maybe send it to betas and then work on book 2, get that one ready to go, do the same kind of a thing as I go through, and then like kind of polish and edit the whole thing. That's the hope, the vibes. Why? Because I'm terrified to write a series and then decide on changing something in book 3 and have book 1 already out in the world. I want to be able to work on the whole story all at once and dabble in all of it, you know? Anyways, that's because I'm such a perfectionist. But anyways, that is the Far Horizons trilogy news. Going back to the Aramount books, which is my baby, my heart, my love, my everything. Aramount book 3, as I mentioned, coming out next year. I have officially, finally finished part 1 of draft 2. So I had a big story breakthrough with this in July, at the very end of July. My brain exploded one night when I had a full conversation with myself. It was an hour and a half long. I fixed the plot holes. I fixed the plot that I needed to do. I added the stuff that I needed, changed the stuff that I needed, all of that wonderful stuff. So now I need to actually write it. I need to actually do that. So I have put it upon myself to consistently write from here on out as much as I can for the rest of September and halfway through October, maybe the entirety of October. I just need to keep myself consistent with this one. Not in a NaNoWriMo sense. I should also do a statement about NaNoWriMo. I'll do that in a second, put a pin in it. Not in a like writing 50,000 words in a month sense, but just consistency, whether that is working on it for at least 10 minutes every day, dabbling, staying on top of it. Because I've noticed now that I've been back at work, back in my teaching job since the beginning of September, that I have only really worked on writing 1 day a week, maybe 2. And it's usually on a Sunday. And that just doesn't quite... it doesn't quite work with actually wanting to finish a draft in a quick, timely manner. Anyways, let me talk about NaNoWriMo for a second. There's a pin, I'm gonna take it out. We're gonna talk about it. The statement that was released from NaNoWriMo, the company, about using AI in your writing, I don't agree with at all. Don't fucking do that. So I know I do not support NaNoWriMo anymore, especially with the way that they completely tried to bury the fuck out of the allegations of grooming and all the shit that went down last year with the chat rooms and stuff like that. I don't know a lot about it because I have never really been an active supporter of NaNoWriMo. The company, I have been an active purveyor of the event of NaNoWriMo, of like doing the events in the year. I've done videos on it on my channel of like writing 50,000 words in a month and like tips and tricks and all that kind of stuff. I've done Camp Nanos in the past, but I haven't really used their website for anything other than my own tracking. I've never really been part of the community on their website either. I've never used their forums. I've never done that. I've never supported them monetarily except for buying one shirt once. I bought that nice long sleeve black one that has like a really beautiful logo on the front. It's one of my favorite shirts. So you're probably gonna see me wearing that in more videos. I will try not to, but it's just gonna kind of be a thing because I love that shirt so much. And sometimes I just don't remember that I'm wearing a specifically NaNoWriMo thing. But I do not support the company anymore unless they do active changes, whether they take down their statement that you can use AI and generative writing in your NaNoWriMo. What do you know? That's not writing. That's not writing. I also do not condone the behavior and the response they had to the grooming allegations. So I just wanted to put that there because I haven't talked about it anywhere else. I have talked about it in my writing vlog that's gonna go up eventually, but I don't know when that's gonna go up. This is definitely going up Friday. So yeah, so that is the consistency, being gentle with myself type of thing coming up with Aramount Book 3. I am excited about Aramount Book 3. It is Cottage Core, witchy, soft. It is going to be a fair bit bigger than A Little Luck and A Second Story. As of right now, the projected word count is double A Second Story, if not more. So we're gonna see if I do end up writing a 125,000 word book. I really would like to keep it on the shorter end even then, because it's cozy. It's not as like action-packed as a political epic fantasy, and I don't want readers to get bored in any moments, but that is just on me and the story side and the actual like editing of scenes side, keeping things a little bit more concise and stuff like that. But Airman Book 3 is something that I am really quite proud of as a concept, and I haven't yet executed it. So I'm excited to keep working on it. It's one of the stories that is gonna hit so good with readers, which is so weird to say. Like, I'm trying to, you know, one, be a humble person, but also be truthful. I don't know. I think you guys are gonna love it. I think you guys are gonna really love it. It's got more going on than my previous two. It's not necessarily a romance book like my previous two are. It has a romance plot line. It's one of the main plot lines between Mary and Zanvi, but it has other things happening too that will keep readers also very engaged and stuff like that. It has also been really interesting to write this third book, because each of the writing processes that I've gone through with the two previous books in this series, I have learned something different about my writing style, and I have done something different within the writing process of each book. And it's really neat to see how things have adjusted as I've gone through and like worked on a second story, and then worked on A Little Luck, and then worked on this. My editing styles have completely changed between books, mainly with like the developmental editing and stuff like that. And this one specifically has been so interesting, of like my need to see it as like a bird's eye view, to see everything at once, to see how everything fits in. And I think this is going to be a really good teaching tool for myself as I go forward into the Horizons Trilogy, which is much more epic fantasy levels, right? So it's going to be good to know. It's going to be a good training situation, and I'm always learning as an author. So that's where I'm at with that project as well. Future Airmount things. I don't have anything concretely planned, but I do have ideas. I have ideas for novellas. I do also have an idea for another trilogy of companion novels in Airmount, but not set at the same time as this one, set before, with some familiar faces. I also have novella ideas for this, as I said, one of which is like in top of mind, and I was gonna work on it this year because originally I had planned for Airmount Book 3 to have it done in September, at the beginning of September, the draft 2, and then have it off to betas. And then I was like, well, if I can write a novella so quick like I did with Mary and Bright, I'm gonna do another novella. I'm gonna try and write one in September and then get that done. I don't need another thing on my plate this year. So if novellas happen, they will be more well planned out, all that good stuff. I also have ideas for a Kieran Lottie sequel that won't be tied to the Airmount books. It'll just be a one-off standalone heisty vibe, all that good stuff. So I have so many ideas banked in my head. This is what this year has really done. It has just exploded my creativity and has given me so many different ideas for books. I have also got a book that is fantasy based, but it was in my head, like the story in my head is almost perfectly well formed. It was inspired by reading Inheritance and then talking to Lindsay afterwards. So that might eventually one day actually become a thing. I have a secret project that I was working on last year that I haven't touched all year that is not in the realm of Ravar. It is more like a Victorian era, alternate universe type of like mystery romance situation. I also, just the other day, I was watching Gab Smulders play through the latest Until Dawn like game. It's not Until Dawn. The Casting of Frank Stone. That's what it's called. And watching that gave me an idea for a new adult type of mystery thriller book, which I never thought I'd ever write, but I really want to dabble with that one. Guys, I am a never-ending fountain of ideas, and that is so exciting to me because honestly, total sidebar, one of my pet peeves in romance books or books of any kind is when the main character is an author or creative of some kind and has writer's block and like the inspiration is gone and they just can't think of anything else they want to write because it's such a big fear of like one day running out of ideas, and shit doesn't happen. If you are actively trying to be creative, ideas will always come in. I have lists of ideas that will take me years to finish and actually do. I have fucking Project Dragon still. I have my middle grade Project Dream that I was working on. I have so much. God. So the plan in my brain is to finish Airmount books, the little mini trilogy, which might one day become more than a trilogy if I want to go back to it. But for now it's going to be 3 books, and then do Sage's trilogy, which is a connected trilogy. And then after that, I want to go back to Project Dragon and try and write that one. Work on it actually, because it's been a couple years now that I haven't worked on it. I was thinking about it the other day. I was like dreaming about it. So that's the plan. Barring any other extra projects that come my way, like freaking novellas that sneak their way in and all that kind of stuff. Anyways, as we come to the end of this video, I also wanted to show you this beautiful situation that I got myself in. So if you guys remember the Gaza Bookbinds auction, or the Bookbinds for Gaza auction that was happening earlier this year, I was very desperate to win something from there. I ended up winning 3 things because I went a little overboard and I spent too much money. But it all went to a good cause. It all went to helping people in Gaza. So I don't regret it in one bit, any amount of money that I spent on that. But one of the things that I won was a 4-edge painting, which if you don't know what a 4-edge painting is, it is when you have a book. Let me show you on a big rack, for example. You have a book and it looks like this, and it looks gilded in like gold or something, and it doesn't really look like much, like it's like gold sprayed edges essentially, but gilded with like gold foil. And then when you do this, and when you like tilt the pages forward, it has like a hidden painting on the inside of it, right? That is what a 4-edge painting is. And I was like, that sounds so cool, I'm in. So I won that. And then the beautiful artist who I won it from I sent all the information for a second story, and being like, this is what I kind of want, like this is the scene that I kind of want, or like the inspiration. She reached out and was like, hey, would you want me to rebind your book too? Because I love doing that. And I was like, please, that was the dream. That's what I wanted to win. I wanted to win a rebind of my book, but all of them were too expensive and all that kind of stuff at one point, because it's such a popular thing to rebind books, right? So she rebounded for me, and now I have a beautiful special edition of a second story that is unique, one of a kind, and she saved like the interior circle of my boys and just like kind of reconstructed the tree design of it in like a faux leather, but it is just so special. And then we have, look at the back, it's just like a plain leather. And then we have, of course, the gold foiled edges, which are so beautiful and so fun. But the special thing is the painting hidden on the 4-edge, which is, it's really tricky to do this, but it's a painting of Airmount and my boys. And I think it is just so spectacularly cool to have this. It's so unique. It's such a fun little piece, and it's my first book. It's my baby. So that is one thing. And then I have also started tossing around the idea of special editions of my books, specifically to bring in a hardcover of my books. And I think it's something that I'm going to do once Airmount Book 3 is out and I can like have more time to think about this kind of stuff and like actively start doing things like that. But I wanted to try and see if there was a possibility to get a hardcover from places. I wanted to see what it would look like. And I would also wanted to see if I could make my own cover in Canva as like something a little bit special, something a little bit different. There are things that I like about this cover. There are things that I don't like the text box. Don't know why that happened. And there's another box around this as well. But it's just so neat to see your book in a hardcover. So that's what I did. This is kind of like a first time experiment of like trying it out in hardcover with something that is not the actual art that my cover artist did. But that's what I did with this. That is on the horizon. It's not a for sure, but it's a real solid want, because I think it would be kind of cool to do hardcovers and make them special enough that it would be different enough that people could get, and then people could get like a set of them that were like more special on their shelves if they wanted to. Anyways, friends, that is kind of the update for where I'm at with my writing. I have lots of ideas, lots of things on the horizon. I'm currently just trying to make it through the end of 2024 without letting my brain implode on itself. I am going to have Marion Bright out November 7th. Oh, also, there's going to be a title reveal for Airmount Book 3 on Sunday, so definitely go follow me on my socials for that. And there will also, fingers crossed, be a cover reveal for Airmount Book 3 by the end of the year. It's going to follow the same vibe as my previous two while still being a little different. I'm so excited for you guys to see what my beautiful cover artist has come up with, because they just sent me the prelim like plan last night, and even just the plan got me really excited. So that is what's happening. That's what's up, my friends. I hope you are all doing well, and I hope you're excited. Stick with me along this journey as we keep going forward and keep creating wonderful things, and it's gonna be great. It's gonna be a good time. But anyways, friends, what an update. I have been talking forever. My voice is sore and I'm hungry, so I'm gonna leave it here, beautiful friends. Thank you so much for watching. I will catch you in another video very, very soon. Stay kind and keep on writing. Mwah!